I always say my name. I'll talk about you, my longtime friend. You run cyber PR, blah, 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 blah. Welcome, Ariel. And then kind of we'll roll into some of the questions.
Perfect. I love it.
And then, hopefully, I don't know, somewhere between 10-ish minutes or so, we'll kind of try to bring it to a close.
That sounds fabulous.
Let me make sure we are recording. I tested the recording, so...
Recording in progress.
So that should work.
All right.
Ready?
I'm ready. Ready as I'll ever be.
Hi, I'm Tony Van Veen, CEO at DiscMakers. I'm here today with my longtime friend, Ariel Hyatt. Ariel runs cyber PR and is perhaps the top independent music PR person out there. She recently published a book titled From Buzz to Bond, coincidentally with our sister company, BookBaby. And today, I'm thrilled to have Ariel with me so that we can all learn more about kind of building a fan base. So Ariel, welcome. So good to have you and to see you.
Thank you for having me. I have known you a very long time. It's always an enormous pleasure to hang out with you.
Yeah, so before we dive in, show us the book, Ariel. It's out there right now.
It looks like a cat. Here is the book.
Looks wonderful. The cats always have to make
the cat is in the middle of the shot. Hello.
So let's talk a little bit about building a fan base. You want to start? Wait, shall we start over?
Do you think?
All right. Let's start over.
Let's start over.
Hi, I'm Tony Van Veen, CEO at DiscMakers. I'm here today with my longtime friend Ariel Hyatt. Ariel runs cyber PR and is perhaps the top independent music PR person out there. It's great to have you, Ariel. She recently published a book titled From Buzz to Bond, coincidentally with our sister company, BookBaby. And today I'm thrilled to have Ariel with me so that we can all learn a bit more about building a fan base. So welcome, Ariel. Great to have you.
Thanks, Tony. It's really nice to be here, and I appreciate the warm welcome.
We've known each other for more decades than we
probably than either of us want to mention. Yes.
Yeah. So, Ariel, your new book. Why don't you show us what the book looked like? We'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff that's in the book.
It looks like this. I designed the cover myself. Very happy with it. It's a beautiful BookBaby book. So,
Ariel, let's dive in. I mean, there's so many artists out there today who are just struggling to build a fan base big enough that they can do music full time. You spent a lifetime in publicity. I knew you when you were, it seems like a teenager, and in artist development. What are these artists doing wrong?
I don't think anyone's doing anything wrong. I think what's happened, especially in the last 10 years, is Spotify, is social media, is this idea that numbers, big numbers, count. And so everybody's been trained to believe that they need 100,000 followers, 1 million streams. I mean, now we're seeing a norm of 1 billion streams for some of our superstar artists. And this is a terrible reality if what you're trying to do is build a sustainable, not even full-time career as a musician. Like, what if you just want to be a weekend warrior and like tour around your hometown? Or what if you want to, create 5 or 6 concerts in your local area per year and do a real job? That's fine too. It's not about being full-time. But the problem is we've all taken our eyes off the core responsibility and we've gotten totally distracted by buzz. Spotify numbers, playlisting campaigns, meta ads, all of that is buzz.
So you're saying the fixation on big numbers, being on a big playlist, getting hundreds of thousands of streams, lots of followers, leads artists to, in a way, kind of skip the steps and some of the hand-to-hand combat required to build up your fan base of loyal fans gradually.
Absolutely. And that stuff takes work. The building the fan base gradually is hard. And it's harder than ever before. Many
artists struggle with it.
Yeah, people don't want to give up their email addresses. It's not the 90s anymore. But I think the reason why buzz marketing proliferates, and the reason why I call the book From Buzz to Bond, it's like I want us to get back to the stuff that matters. But the reason why it proliferates is you don't have to work hard at it. You can hire a playlisting company. You can hire an advertising guy. They run off. They do it. You can be making music, sleeping, eating, doing your life, and that thing grows your numbers.
So let's talk about, you have an emerging artist, a young artist trying to, start to, get known and build a fan base. What should they be doing?
They should be thinking about what, first of all, is unique and special and differentiates them and their music from the other 120,000 tracks that are going to go up on DSPs, Spotify today. That's the first thing. Unfortunately, a lot of artists say to me, well, my music is excellent. The cream rises to the crop. Unfortunately, the whole package has to be thought about. So it's not just about your music. And I wish the cream would rise to the top, and it does in many cases after it gets rolling. But the first thing you need to do is really ask yourself, who am I and who is my audience? Just because we have these little devices in our pockets where there's a billion people on the other end of any button you could press does not mean they're all your audience. And so it's really important to understand who you're talking to first.
And then what? Once you know that, it's really important to figure out what is it in your music that's going to connect to the right fan bases, and like, what is your reason for being here? After you know that, you want to begin to set yourself up, or if you're already set up, you want to take some steps back and figure out how you can own as much of your audience as possible. And when I mean own, I mean Mark Zuckerberg doesn't own it, Google doesn't own it, ByteDance doesn't own it, and Spotify doesn't own it. You own it. That means email addresses, mailing addresses, text messaging, things that you control. The not sexy stuff. No, and I would venture to say, having spoken to a few artists over my career, this thinking about who am I, what am I, who is my audience, probably doesn't get done very deliberately very often.
This is true. And the thing that's really great about being a musician and having music is a lot of who you are and what are you and who your fan base is going to be is actually boiled into your music. And I think there's been a huge amount of hype around storytelling and branding. And these are things that I think real artists are actually allergic to. Less and less now that we live in a branding world. But it is really important to go back and ask, like, who's really going to like me? Who's really going to resonate with me? Who's really going to want to listen to me? Just because there's 20-year-olds on TikTok and everybody says TikTok is where music is getting discovered, does that mean that you, as maybe an older person who's uncomfortable in front of a camera, do you need to be on TikTok? Not necessarily.
It's really an interesting, that whole concept of thinking about who I am and who's my audience. It's really kind of it's artist development, essentially, right? It's an essential piece of artist development that most emerging or independent artists don't really do deliberately.
No.
And I think many of the labels don't really do that deliberately anymore.
I mean, the labels now expect you to arrive at the party. You arrive at your record contract with all of that in place. And artist development from a label standpoint is so rare. It's a thing of the past. The labels are looking for the numbers, how many real audience members, we know this. And so it's really up to the artist to figure out your brand pillars, your fan personas, and your voice, which is at the very top of my Bond marketing funnel. And that's mostly what From Buzz to Bond, the book, is about. It's about creating a system for yourself to move yourself through the thought pattern of how do I get people to really connect and come down the journey, down the funnel with you.
So tell us briefly about this funnel, right? Because Buzz to Bond, this is about the bond between the fan and the artist and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
And creating that bond so that you have fans of your music who will come to multiple of your concerts and who will buy your next album and then the one after that. What does that funnel look like? Just, if an artist is watching this and doesn't really understand, kind of how does that work?
So there's 10 parts to it. And at the very top, I just said you've got your brand pillars, your fan personas, and your voice. What is your voice? Are you serious? Are you a social justice warrior? Are you snarky? Are you funny? Are you a mom? Are you nurturing? Are you angry? I mean, there's a million ways that your voice comes through in your music and in your personality. When you then begin to drill into that, you want to take a look at what you're doing. So the second part of the funnel is, okay, you've got a sense of who you are, what your voice is, and who your fans might be. Go and take a really good objective look at what you're doing on social media. Is it tuned up? Does it look good? If your voice is like angry social justice warrior and you're posting photos about you baking cupcakes, those two things might be at odds with one another. If you're like an angry punk rocker and you're posting photos about your baby or your hikes, that might not be in alignment with what you're trying to say in your music. From there, you also want to remember that just having it on social isn't enough. Where are you capturing fans? And you have to lay the buckets out to catch the rain. So step 3, we call it capture bucketing. Where are you capturing fans? I cannot tell you how many websites we analyze where we go and the email sign up is at the very, very bottom of the page, buried in the footer, or it's buried somewhere on the website, or it's nowhere even on the website. We click on the one precious link that you get on Instagram and you get a bit.ly or like a short or a link tree that takes me to 27 different links and I'm completely overwhelmed. We're not funneling fans into the buckets. So it's really, really important to begin to think about how are you capturing data? How are you
optimizing the conversion opportunity, right? Converting somebody from a visitor to your website or your socials and then capturing and getting, as you mentioned, to own a piece of that, a way that you can reach them, not have to wait passively for them to come and find you.
Yes, and we always have to remember that audiences aren't as smart as you think they are. Your audience might likely believe that just streaming your music on Spotify is really useful to you. Like, they don't realize you're getting 0.003 cents a stream. They don't realize that Spotify is not telling you much about your audience. And I think part of your journey is to educate your fan. Hey, did you know that even if you streamed my music 25 times, that, barely got me 10 cents, and that doesn't tell me where you are, it tells you what country you live in, but really these platforms are designed for the platforms to get rich, not for the artists to super benefit. So educating your fans and your people about what your reality as a musician is. And this is not about being like desperate, like, hey, I'm trying to do an act of desperation here, but just a little bit of like, I have a client, for example, who posted, how much money, you guys, do you think I made on Spotify during Spotify Wrapped, when everyone's sending their wraps and showing off their numbers? And he had something, like 48,000 streams, which is not nothing. That's a nice number. Yeah. And everyone was like, oh, I don't know, $10,000. Like, people have no idea how little money you're earning. And so figuring out how to communicate, and then different touch points. So there's been the good news about bonding with fan bases now is all of the major labels and everyone in the music industry right now, 2025, 2026, they're obsessed with super fans. And and how do you do exactly what I'm talking about here, which is hilariously something I've been talking about for over 20 years. I have not changed my tune. This is the same conversation you and I had when Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans came out all those years ago, right? So it's about the touch points. And all of these new studies are showing that it takes 5 touch points for a fan to even begin to be warmed up enough to come into your world. So you have to also be mindful that just moving the email list sign up to the top of your website is not going to get people to sign up in droves, sadly.
So about your book, right? Why did you write it?
I wrote it because I was beginning to feel really discouraged. Meeting with and I talked to so many musicians that are interested in working with my agency. For every one client that signs up to work with us, I probably talk to 20 clients about where they're at, what they want. Many of them are not right for our agency. Many are overwhelmed with choice. Many want me to get them 1 million followers, and that's what they think I do, which I don't. So it's not always in alignment. But what I just kept seeing over and over was I was going to people's online presence. I was observing fake streams or botted streams or streams that were not useful. When I'm talking to someone who lives in Chicago and I look and you're playing out in the Chicago blues world, but all your plays are in Mexico City and Brazil and you have no connection to those audiences, I can immediately see that you hired a playlisting company that got you some plays, but I'm not seeing the benefit there. So again, this is where the buzz is at odds with the bond. And then I'll say things like, how many people on your email list, or how often do you send out your communications that you own? And there's always this little like guilty look and this wincing, cringing around. And then they have to admit, well, I don't send it out as much as I should, or I haven't really paid attention to it. And that's okay. This is never a make wrong conversation. But if you're sitting here wondering why you can't fill a venue in your local town or the town over or up and down the East Coast, if you're trying to branch out, it's likely because you just don't have enough control over your audience. So that's the work.
Helping artists understand this whole landscape and what the funnel looks like and some of the steps that you as an artist can or should be taking to really help yourself be very deliberate about developing yourself and then developing a fan.
Yeah. And this book, the other thing that motivated me to write it is no musician in the world is looking for more to-dos. We're not looking for another article from a guru about how to do something. Like, there's plenty of that out there. This book is a mindset book. It's a philosophy book. And yes, there's a bond funnel with 10 steps on it, but I'm not painstakingly taking you through all the different things that you have to do in each step. I'm trying to get you to see a large picture around a mindset shift. If you can shift away from investing all that money into your Spotify playlisting and you maybe divert some of it into another way of connecting to people, you might really benefit. And you might not even need to do all 10 steps in the funnel. You might need to do 1 or 2 to see a dramatic shift in how your music and your art and your persona and your satisfaction level is rising. That's the thing that really motivated me. I was finding so many artists on the other end of the phone and at conferences. I speak at conferences, on panels, workshops, Zooms. This level of unsatisfaction. Buzz marketing is potato chips. You eat them and eat them and eat them, and they just kind of make you fat and bloated, and they don't satisfy you.
And you keep thinking, what's the next gimmick for me to, get more clicks or more engagement, more likes, etc. Yeah. Sounds like there's some really, to carry your potato chip analogy a little farther, there's some really nutritious content to consume there in your book. So where can people find it? Amazon,
You
all
can
major
find it at
bookstores?
Amazon. You can find it at all the major bookstores, thanks to you. And you can buy a digital copy right straight from my website at cyberprmusic.com. And if you're not ready to commit, you can come to my website. There is a free excerpt. You can download a chapter or two and see if this message is resonating with you.
Great. I will put a couple of links in the comments below. And Ariel, thank you so much. I think this was really interesting and really, I think for many artists, just a different way to think about themselves. So thanks so much for joining and for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and your experience.
It's always my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Take care. Okay. I think that was great.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, I think that was really good, Ariel. I think that's just a